Guten Morgen, meine Damen and Herren. Guest of honor, Dr. Sonia Lanstel-Kandel, Minister for Family Affairs, Women, Youth, Integration, and Consumer Protection of the State of Rhineland-Palatinate, Minister Anne Spiegel, Head of Department of Science and Environment at the German Embassy in Israel, Barbara Seimetz.
President of the University, Professor Ron Robin, members of the German delegation, honored guests, faculty, students and friends.
Welcome, willkommen.
Marhaba, baruchim habayim, to the annual German Friends Association festive reception.
My name is Hanin. I'm 23 from the village of Fordes. I have finished my bachelor's degree in July 2018 in Communication and English. I am currently pursuing my master's degree in English literature here at the University of Haifa. I am an academic director at our university, Haifa University, Model United Nations, and I have participated in 2 delegations to Germany, which were funded by our Friends Association, and actually have won an Outstanding Delegate Award last year.
My name is Moshe Asher Yohanatan Mitchell, and I was born in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. I grew up in a multicultural city, and my school, incidentally named after the very mountain which we are standing, Carmel, was a microcosm of this. Since moving to Israel, I have endeavored to get to know the various communities that make up Israel. I attended a Haredi yeshiva in Jerusalem. I moved from there on to a religious kibbutz in the Beit Shan Valley. I moved down to Eilat and back up to Haifa, where 3.5 years ago I joined the community leadership program in a desire to engage in dialogue with those that I had only consequentially met hitherto in my life in Israel.
We have an eventful and interesting program this morning, so let us begin. First, I'd like to call upon the president of the university, Professor Ron Robin, to offer his greetings.
Good morning, everyone. The final event of the Board of Governors and my favorite event. This event is a representation of who we are. We are a university seeking academic excellence. We are a university seeking social justice. We're a university that is an engine of change for Israeli society and hopefully for the Middle East in general. And this event, which I've been part of since I was Dean of Students in the early 2000s, when I first met Sonia and Manfred, is something that always warms my heart. And I think I just wish that we would have a little bit more exposure to this event, because it shows Israeli society what it can be and what it can achieve. So here we are at a university which is going through very significant transitions. Most of the students, of course, know this. Our guests have just heard a little bit about this. We moved to become a multiversity, by which we mean a university of multiple campuses, the introduction of multiple new disciplines and combinations of disciplines, but most importantly, a reflection of this incredible human tapestry that makes up Israeli society. Every single group in this part of the region is represented here at the university. That's the source of our strength. That's the source of our greatness. We are the creators of Israel's new middle class, which is embracive, it's inclusive, and will produce a society which is more just and more equitable. Sometimes we are confused by the noise of politics. When we read the newspaper on a daily basis, I get what I think is a very skewed picture of where the society is headed. But I'm an historian, and I think in long terms. I think of developments that take long periods of time to develop. And I see major changes going through the society. I see the middle class spreading from what once used to be an enclave of Ashkenazi Jews to the entire society in Israel. Jews, Arabs, Christians, Muslims, everyone. I see a society where women hold a place in which they deserve to be. We see it in our university. Over 60% of the students here are women. That is true for Jews, that is true for Arabs. And women, as we all know, are the agents of change in society. And so I see before our very eyes significant changes which are slow but very, very dramatic. And why we may not be aware of them right now, they will change the lives, our lives, but definitely the lives of the young people sitting here in the audience. So we are very proud to be part of this event, which is an annual event here at the university. We're very proud of our German supporters. We are very thankful for our German supporters. And if I may say, we're especially thankful for Manfred. And you've just been such wonderful supporters, Sonia and Manfred, over the years. I cannot envision the university without you. Thank you from the bottom of our collective heart for all that you have done for the university over the years. Thank you to our German friends who are here today. You've seen a bit of our students, you'll get to know a little bit more, and you'll see what a wonderful and inspiring place you are in right now. And for our Muslim students, Ramadan Kareem, and we look forward to your holiday in about a week's time, I think. And thank you for taking the time for everybody to be here today.
Thank you, Professor Robin. We now have the pleasure of introducing the newly elected Chairman of the Board of Governors, Mr. Bradley Bloom. He was unable to attend this morning, so we made certain to videotape his greeting. Please play the clip.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brad Bloom, and I am the recently elected chair of the Board of Governors of the University of Haifa. It's a real honor and pleasure here to address all of you this morning, students, faculty, friends, and particularly the German friends of the University of Haifa, and Sonia, who I've known has provided such great support to the university over many, many years. I spoke to Sonia recently, and I'd heard of her from Ron Robin and other people about the great contributions that she and her husband and all of you have provided to the university. And so it's great to be able to see that in Haifa this week and to address all of you briefly as a group. The role of a university in the world today is a very special one. It's a place to provide a framework and a home for people to discuss things openly, intellectually, honestly, and to engage with each other. It's a place to think about the future and to innovate and to dream. And in particular, the University of Haifa does an amazing job of this, as I've seen this week. And it's really the reason why I've been willing to step into the organization and try to help it over the next several years. So while I can't be with you in person this morning, I'm particularly delighted, Sonia, to be with you through this video. I look forward to visiting with you in future visits to Israel and perhaps even seeing all of you in Germany sometime in the near future. Thank you.
It is with great pleasure that I call to the stage Dr. Sonia Landstein-Kandel, the chairwoman of the German Friends Association of the University, to offer her greetings.
Hello, everybody. I have to stand on my toes. Can you see me? No, I'm fine. It's a good exercise. Well, I'm very excited because for me, this is really the highlight of all the events taking place in these days. And first time when I came to the university, I made a few jokes about this habit to greet everybody personally. And so everybody who started a speech went on greeting the same people over and over again. But today, for some reason, I feel that I should actually do it because I was thinking of all the people, and it came to my heart that there are some people here that are really dear to my heart, and I would like to mention them. And please forgive me if I forget anybody. by name. But of course, I'm very happy, Ron, that you have come. And I know that you have to go earlier, which is fine because you have to take care of the big strategic plan of this university. Ron was Dean of Students when we started our community leadership program, so we know and trust each other from those times. And of course, it's a special privilege, I have to say it, to say hello to Minister Anne Spiegel, who, thanks to the DAD Institute, has found out about the event, and it just fits, as we say, Faust aufs Auge, fits perfectly. She came with a big delegation, I think, of Greens and Heinrich Boll Foundation and of your ministry, and she is the youngest woman in Germany to be in a ministerial responsibility. A charming one, I may say it because I'm not a man. And we will have her on the panel afterwards. And I'm also very happy that Barbara Seimitz is here with us. She just arrived to Israel 2 weeks ago to be the scientific counselor at the embassy. Our ambassador, I think, is involved because there, as you all know, there is no government in Israel, so there are some important things to be done. Welcome, and so you get the right university right at the beginning. Then, of course, I'm standing here together and in the name of the German friends, especially my colleague, Dr. Olaf Schulz-Guardian, who you already know. Would you maybe rise? He is on our board, and he brought his daughter, who is also a student, Mira, student of law. She's here too. Professor Silbereisen, who has been associated with the university for a long time, and also dear members of the German Friends, who joined the German Friends, I think, a couple of years ago. Mr. Granzo and his wife, Andrea Böhm, who are sitting there, and the heart of our operation, Nicola Teuber, who you all know, who is running our little office. And especially, I'm very pleased and touched that we have a group of very dear friends from Germany who actually came to Israel to do a private visit and then were convinced that they come here to Haifa and see how life, the real life, outside Tel Aviv, outside Jerusalem, outside Masada, to see what life means here in the north of Israel. And these are Professor Burkhard Schwenker and his wife Sabine, Dr. Peter von Foster and his wife Gabi, and Daniel Kühnel and his wife Susanne, all in very important positions, of course, which I'm not going to mention one by one now. And I want to mention especially dear, dear old friends, Majid Al-Haj, where are you? Majid Al-Haj, please stand up. A famous man, the first Arab-Israeli vice president of the University of Haifa for research, and I think the first one ever in Israel, and extremely successful and an important figure to raise the voice of equality or for equality, and has been a long-time friend and always comes, and I'm really touched that you are here. And I can say the same for Faisal Azaiza, who is sitting there. He is now when we started our program, he was the first director of the Jewish Arab Center that I met, and we kicked off the programs, and together he's now the dean of the School of Social Health and Social Sciences that was just inaugurated yesterday, and so glad that you are here. And dear Sheikh, may I also ask you to stand up? Yes, please. Why? Because you are a wonderful, a major figure in the Druze community, a major role played at the University of Haifa. We had a beautiful program with the Jewish community about environment, teaching with the German Environment Foundation. And he yesterday received the Exceptional Fellowship Award of the University of Haifa for his life achievement, and the whole Druze community was there, so it was really wonderful. And of course, I want to mention Adi Ben-Ari, who is our partner with the Jewish Arab Center. Where is Adi? She is here, and she did not come alone. She brought our 35 students of the Haifa meets Frankfurt project that is running for the 10th year, multicultural in every possible way, on each side, Israeli and German, and meeting up and mixing. And the German group is led by Professor Julia Bernstein from Frankfurt University. Julia, would you stand up? I was so happy to see her because Professor Julia Bernstein is one of the very important and renowned professors at the Frankfurt University of Applied Sciences. Her major study is anti-Semitism, and we are together on a federal forum of anti-Semitism that is trying to fight anti-Semitism in Germany, and a platform for this will be launched on June 12th, and we contributed to it. So we hope it is going to be good. So we don't have much time, and of course, you students who are here are the major people here. We have all these programs that you're participating in, that you're qualified for. We just met the wonderful women of the Werner Otto Arab Graduate Women Program. A couple days ago, Nicola and some others, Karen and our angels here from the university who are helping us, went to a wonderful music event that the community leaders launch on their own initiative in mixed neighborhood in Haifa with music and talk. And this has taken off in a way that by your own initiative, which is wonderful. And also, I hope that we have some, and we have heard, we have some members of the famous Model United Nation teams, mixed Model United Nation teams, debating teams from University of Haifa that go around the world and win prizes for debates. And as Ron said, we are here from all over the world to discuss strategic plans, the challenges for the university, the finance, the support that can be launched for that, the individual new courses, how to increase the number of graduate students and all that. But one thing is a fact, and that is that this really in Israel is the most natural place of everybody meeting together and everybody respecting the other culture, the other religion. And I must say that this is something that is really different to many other parts in Israel. It's also, these are problems with which we are fighting in Germany. We are going to discuss these in a moment at the panel. And so I do not want to give you any big wisdoms on this. I'm just very happy to see such a full room, and I hope that you will all participate in as much time as we have in our little discussion, and we definitely, and I definitely will leave here happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Langstein-Kandel. As always, it is a great pleasure to have you with us on campus for what has become a blessed tradition. Now we have a special guest who has honored us with her presence. I would like to call to the stage Barbara Simons, head of the Department of Science and Environment at the German Embassy in Israel, who is representing the German ambassador today.
Dear Professor Robin, dear Dr. Langstein-Kandel, dear Professor Kandel, dear Minister Spiegel, dear German friends of the University of Haifa, dear students and dear guests. Let me begin by extending the warmest greeting from Dr. Susanne Wasum-Reiner, the German ambassador to Israel. Ambassador Wasum-Reiner felt very honored to have received your invitation to visit the Haifa University on the special occasion of the festive reception of the German friends of the University of Haifa. Unfortunately, Ambassador Wasum-Reiner had to stay in Tel Aviv today to attend high-ranking political talks, which unfortunately were scheduled to take place at short notice. Well, in turbulent times like these, you are unfortunately not always master of your own schedule. Well, Ambassador Reiner has therefore asked me to represent her today as the new science counselor at the embassy, and it is a true honor and a great privilege for me to be here today. Let me start with a quote from the Haifa University's webpage. It says, "We define ourselves by who and what we include, and not by who and what we exclude." Ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply impressed by this definition and by the university's distinct and unique mission, namely to foster academic excellence in an atmosphere of tolerance, multiculturalism, and social responsibility in order to create a better community and a better society. As a representative of the German embassy, I'm very proud and at the same time very grateful to see that there are so many German friends dedicated to this noble cause. To create a new and a better society was also the dream of the men and women who 70 years ago, almost to the day, brought the German constitution, the German basic law, into force. With the horrors of the war in mind, this basic law puts human dignity and human rights at its beginning, and for good reasons. It guarantees all citizens the same rights, regardless of gender, descent, origin, creed, or political opinion. For 70 years now, this document serves as a guardrail to strengthen social cohesion and to foster a better and a peaceful German society. However, social cohesion and a better society do not emerge by themselves, and they cannot be decreed by definition or by law, neither in Israel nor in Germany. It requires the effort of each and every one. The most successful way to create a better community and a better society is to trust others and have confidence in others. Especially young people can achieve so much if only somebody believes in them and supports them. Dear German friends of the University of Haifa, you trust this young and talented generation. You have confidence in them. You believe in them and you actively support them with your wonderful programs. You are implementing the mission of this university in an exemplary and extraordinary way. You contribute to the future of this university. You contribute to a better community and a better and peaceful society. And finally, you contribute to the German-Israeli relationship in a very noble way. And thank you for all of that. Thank you very much. Toda rabba.
Thank you for these kind words. For our listening pleasure, we have with us today Narmin and Samer, both undergraduates of the Department of Music, who will perform Michael Jackson's Heal the World.
You'll find there's no need to cry in this place, you'll feel there's no heart or sorrow. There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living. Make a better world, make a better world. Heal the world, make it better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. If you want to know why, there's a love that cannot lie. Love is strong, it only cares for joyful giving. If we try, we shall see. In this place we cannot fear. Fear or dread, we stop existing and start living. Then it feels that always love enough was growing. Make a better world, make a better world. Heal the world, make it better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. لا تبكي يا صغيري، لا انظر نحو السماء. من قلبك الحريري لا تقطع الرجاء. إن الأمل جهدنا عمل والجهد لا يضيع. الأمل جهد عمل. لا تبكي يا صغيري، لا انظر نحو السماء. من قلبك الحريري لا تقطع الرجاء. إن الأمل جهد عمل والجهد لا يضيع. الأمل جهد عمل. تعاونت قطرات في قلبها نبض مليء بالحياة. تماسكت تعاونت كن مثلها. تعاونت قطرات في قلبها نبض مليء بالأمل. تماسكت تعاونت كن مثلها. جهد أمل ألوان حياة. Heal the world, make it better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Make a better place for you and for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Narmin and Samer, for this lovely performance. The German Friends Association has been the benevolent sponsor of many prolific programs on campus. Throughout its long-standing support, the association has made tremendous impact, not only on our beautiful campus and its students, but across communities. This short film you will now watch captures but a glimpse of this. Enjoy.
קוראים לי דניאל, אני מייצג את מועדון מודל האו"ם באוניברסיטת חיפה. אני מרגיש שהתוכנית הזאת היא משהו מאוד חיוני שסטודנטים חייבים לגשת אליה, מלבד היכולות הפרקטיות, גם היכולות האישיות והקבוצתיות באות לידי ביטוי. מועדון מודל האו"ם תרם לי אישית בכך שהצלחתי לשפר את האנגלית שלי ולהוביל אותה לנושאים דיפלומטיים.
אני דינה אבניה, אני בתוכנית מנהיגות ערבית ויהודית, אני לומדת תואר שני בחינוך והתפתחות האדם. במהלך השנה עשינו כמה פעילויות שקשורות לרב תרבותיות, חשפנו סטודנטים למסורת ולהיסטוריה של תרבויות שונות דרך משחקים, דרך ארוחות שהן מסורתיות, וזה היה מאוד מאוד נחמד שאנשים יכירו אחד את השני בסביבה שהיא כיפית וחווייתית.
קוראים לי נרדין, אני בת 24, חיפה, אני סטודנטית לעבודה סוציאלית שנה ב'. לתוכנית יש שני חלקים, בחלק הראשון אנחנו טסנו לגרמניה, שם טיילנו, הכרנו כל מיני מקומות, גם הציגו לנו את הסיפור של השואה מהצד שלהם. ובחלק השני, הגרמנים מתארחים אצלנו בארץ, שאנחנו מכינים להם תוכנית. התוכנית היא אמורה להציג את כל מה שחברי הקבוצה בעצם בוחרים להציג, שזה גם שני הנרטיבים, גם גרם לי מבחינת פיתוח יחסים, גם עם אנשים מכאן וגם עם אנשים שהם מחול.
Hello, my name is Ashkan Safai Hakimi. I'm a student at the University of Haifa. I'm doing my master's degree at the Department of Middle Eastern and Islamic Studies. It was a great experience for me to join the JCM course. In this room, we actually added some religious books. Currently, I think we only have Jewish and Islamic religious books. We don't have Christian books yet, but we are going to add.
שמי לורה מנסור, אני בת 30, אני סטודנטית לדוקטורט בחוג לפסיכולוגיה באוניברסיטת חיפה. בשנים האחרונות יותר סטודנטיות ערביות בוחרות להמשיך את המסלול האקדמי שלהן, מתואר ראשון לשני ולתארים יותר מתקדמים כמו דוקטורט ופוסט דוקטורט. אבל להרבה סטודנטיות בעצם אין את האפשרות הכלכלית לקחת מסלול ארוך כל כך, שדורש גם הרבה זמן וכסף והשקעה. ותוכניות כמו ורנר אוטו הן כל כך חיוניות לסטודנטיות כאלה, שבוחרות להשקיע בעצמן ובהתפתחות האישית שלהן דרך המחקר.
We now proceed to the part of the event we have all been waiting for. The fascinating panel discussion titled The Making of an Empowered Society for and with Young Israelis, Rights and Responsibilities. I shall now invite the participants of the panel to take their seats on stage. I call upon Dr. Sonia Lanston-Kandel, the moderator of the panel, to the stage.
Our next panelist is an honored and distinguished guest from Germany, Minister for Family Affairs, Women, Youth, Integration and Consumer Protection of the State of Rhineland-Palatinate, Minister Anne Spiegel.
Our next panelist is the director of one of the University of Haifa's prestigious legal clinics. I call to the stage Advocate Samar Kutha of the Clinic of Human Rights and Society.
Last, but certainly not least, to complete our panel this morning, I call upon the following students representing the various programs supported by the German Friends. Shmuel Stieglitz, Haifa meets Germany. Maya Tarabe, Community Leadership. Barry Oshran, Model UN. Sarai Azrieli, JCM. And last but certainly not least, Laura Mansour, Werner Otto Scholarship Program.
Hello, everybody here. Normally, for a panel like this, we would need 2 hours, but we really have like 50 minutes, so we want to make it short. We have a very complicated title that we have been working on, you know, The Making of an Empowered Society for and with Young Israelis, Rights and Responsibilities. And so Minister Spiegel and I are the only non-Israelis, and at least I am also not young, but, but I am neutral. So thank you very much for this wonderful musical performance. While we cannot heal the world, we can maybe make it a better place for you and me. And I would like to start and maybe briefly just introduce each one of you as we come to it. And I would like to start maybe with 2 brief statements from Frau Minister Anne Spiegel. Maybe you can say a few words. I already said you're the youngest woman minister on the state level in Germany. As you know, Germany is a federation. You must be extremely happy because you're a member of the Greens, of the German, in English it's Alliance 90, the Greens, who have done a phenomenal progress in the last month in German politics, wonderful impulses and great result in the European election. But you are also, you have 4 children, and you have a full-time job, more than a full-time job, so you can associate a little bit with the women of the Werner Otto Arab-Israeli program. Maybe you could say a few words about how we in Germany, what we miss to have an empowered society for young people with rights and responsibilities, what you can contribute, and maybe a few personal notes how you actually made it into this position.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. I'm honored to be here today, and there is this strong link, this partnership, of course, between Haifa and Mainz. Mainz, the state capital of Rhineland-Palatinate. We're twin cities, and the University of Haifa is also the partner university of the University of Mainz. I'm honored to be here. Yes, how I came to become a minister. Before I was 5 years a parliamentarian. I was working already on the issues of integration politics, refugee politics, and gender issues. And then we had re-elections, and then the opportunity came up, and I thought, of course, why not? I wanna make a change, and I also want to encourage other women to join politics, because equality we can only make become reality if we also have equality in parliaments and in governments, means that we have more women represented there. So this is one of my main goals, and how we can achieve the integration of more young people into the society. That's a very important issue for me as a youth minister. I'm trying to establish structures of participation on the local level, on the state level, on the national level, and so on. And I think it's very important, especially in our country that is now, I would even say, suffering from the demographic change. So we have not so many young people there anymore, and the average age is going up. So it's even more important to provide an infrastructure where young people can get involved, because their opinion does matter. And we have at the moment also a very strong climate change movement initiated by young people that went onto the streets, and they said we need to be active right now against climate change if we want to have good conditions for the next generation coming up. So in my daily work, I always try to include young people and their opinions, and I think this is a very important thing in a democracy, that all generations have a voice.
Thank you very much. We will hopefully have time for discussion on this. Now I'm very happy to introduce briefly our next participant, Samar Kuda, who is advocate, a lawyer. Is it advocate or lawyer? Advocate is the title here? Well, this is the formal one. Okay, okay. She's a lawyer and she is doing a fantastic job. She is working at the Clinic for Human Rights in Society at the Faculty of Law of Students here at the University of Haifa. Some German law universities also have legal clinics, but that's somewhat different. That means students engage pro bono to help disadvantaged people or people with social problems or minorities, whereas Samar also does that, of course, but the clinic is also a hub for research and for analysis and for bringing in initiatives how to improve actually what we are discussing today about the rights and opportunities. Maybe you can say a few words to it, what an empowered society is missing here.
Thank you very much for this introduction, and I'm really honored to be part of this panel, even though I don't see any of our law students, though I know they participate in these programs as well. So yes, I am a practitioner of law. I'm a lawyer, and I run the Human Rights Legal Clinic at the law faculty. We have several clinics. We deal with different topics, but our main issue is actually enabling students, law students, with the tools within the legal framework to achieve social justice, social change where it is needed, and we know that in our country it is needed. We work with, of course, with an academic, with a professor or a doctor that teaches also within the clinic, and our role, my role, is to enable and moderate the practical tools. We represent people from disadvantaged communities. We are talking about, of course, women, poor people. We ensure their human rights within many, many areas. In my clinic especially, we specialize in housing rights, in, of course, the minority, the Palestinian Arab minority within Israel. We focus on Haifa, we focus on Akka, which is a very beautiful city, acre in the north of Israel. If you haven't visited, you have a chance, please go visit. Of course, we work with our goal, main goal is to focus on fundamental social justice issues and systemic issues. So we also seek issues that need grassroots change using, again, the law. Now we are facing a big challenge, of course, with our judicial system, with our legal system, because we are unfortunately going to places that infringe upon human rights, and we are really struggling to work within the legal framework, finding legal tools to really actually fight the injustice. So when injustice is legislated, is empowered by the law, it becomes a very, very big challenge. And our work is actually to give the students vast tools from different kind of areas and say, okay, so how can I challenge the law within a legal framework, but also change it from the root? We work with diversity, of course, of students, women, men, Palestinians, Jews, secular, religious, and it's actually an open platform within the law school that allows students to speak freely, to bring in themselves, to bring in their own issues. We encourage, of course, an open discussion, even though many times, of course, we do not agree on many, many issues. What we do agree on is actually the empowering of the unempowered, giving voice to people who do not have a voice, to encourage law students that they use the knowledge they acquire. They are privileged. We are privileged to be in this place of studying law, to use this tool as an empowering tool in the future within their own communities. Even if I go and choose to work in a corporate law, just bring in and be very, very aware of the other. So my personal goal also within the clinics is actually to blur this illusion of me and the other, of me the rich and them the poor, of me the empowered and them the disadvantaged people, of me the Jew and you the Arab, or vice versa. So we use this platform to rub this blurriness of we are separated, because we are not, and just by luck I'm on this side and you're on that side, and just by luck you're in Germany and we're here, and so it's just to work on that. And then when we come to implement the law and when we come to legislate new laws within a framework of putting in front of us the intention of equality for everybody, justice for everybody, then this separation needs to really be seen as, okay, we cannot actually be separated if we are looking for an equal community. Then we all have to be equal, meaning equal access to rights in order to be able also to have equal duties as well.
Thank you very much. That's wonderful. And I would like now to pass on to Shmuel. Shmuel, is correct? Samuel? Shmuel. Small Stieglitz. Normally in an ideal world, you wouldn't ask who is Jewish, who is Arab. I mean, it just doesn't matter, right? Shouldn't matter. But in a world where there's still problems and distances, we try to help to bring the Jewish and the Arab together, because yes, there's so many here at the campus that are studying together every day, but they don't do necessarily things together. And so you are participating in, you said, Haifa Meets Germany program, which is wonderful. It's called Haifa Meets Frankfurt. It used to be Haifa meets Berlin, but of course through Frankfurt you also meet Germany. So I would like also very, very briefly to ask you, what motivated you to participate in the program? B, did you, with the encounter with the Germans, do you think that there's the one thing that is done better or is missing in Germany in terms of empowerment for young people? And see what you think you could transform or suggest or recommend from what you've learned in terms of our topic of an empowered society for young people. Sorry. Don't worry.
Hi, my name is Shmuel. Yeah. I'm from an Orthodox family, a religious family.
Can you hold the mic?
Okay, I will try. I come from a religious family, Orthodox, Haredi, like we call it here in Israel. And for me, the reason why I wanted to join this program was to know about other cultures, and that was a big opportunity for me. We had several discussions about the German society and how they deal with things inside them.
You can just feel free to say what you want. Don't worry.
Sorry, I never did it before, so it's too much for me. We had so many discussions about what we can help the others, because most of the group are social workers. In the Germany group, they are all social workers, and in our group, most of us are social workers. So my thoughts was that as a social worker, you have to bring something from your house, from your values that you study all of your life. And as a Haredi, or Orthodox, I would bring that how you cooperate with a closed society, how you can talk to them to find a way to the leadership, and this is the way how to work with young people, is to help them to cooperate with the older and the people that are responsible for the community.
Thank you. Yes, you can keep it. Thank you, Shamuel. Maya, yes, you are participating in the community leadership program, and I think it's your first year. You're a student of medical science, if I understand it correctly. Do you study it here at Rambam or here at
Here at the university.
Here at the university, okay. So to you also the question, how did you, decide to participate in this program? It's a 3-year program. I know you developed a number of activities on your initiative, and how do you feel that this maybe you could, you and the others could take it into the society to make a difference?
So, hello everybody. My name is Maya, and I'm 21 years old. I'm a second-year student of medical sciences and biology here at Haifa University. And I belong to the community leadership program, and I'm here to present my awesome group. So I think that this is one of the most important and interesting experience that I've ever had. So the program that that I'm part of is basically trying to combine between both Arabs and Jews. So we can, despite of the fact that we are coming from different backgrounds, different religions, race, political opinions, and even thoughts, we are trying to getting in some kind of harmony. So we're sharing each other and making some kind of an atmosphere where you can really express yourself. Bring yourself here to this room, to this class, and discuss everything that goes to your mind about politics, about the relationship between both nations specifically. I need to say that we're a nation, different nations, Arabs and Jews, and in this specific nations, we have the multiculturalism. So it was really hard for me at the first, to try to express myself without being afraid that maybe I will say something that it might hurt someone or maybe bother them because I was not, I didn't have the language maybe, or the lack of information that I have about politics and about the Jews and their livings and also theirs. We don't have that kind of information that I will really express myself well. So, and having this opinion that there are a majority and I'm a minority here, and they are maybe looking at me different. So I thought that I heard about the program, and it was really interesting to me to see how, and specifically because I'm a Muslim and I'm with hijab, so I want to see how Jews may think about me. And what do you think about my thoughts and my professionalities in my education? So I may break some kind of stereotype that may really, maybe that will have this kind of difficulty about, I'm different. I'm not the same as you, and we're not having, maybe we have differences as well as similarities, but I'm not finding this it's right that we are here in the same university about Arabs and Jews, but we are not having this connection. So I found a place that I really can discuss it without being afraid and with trying to experience something that it's maybe affect something that will be in other generations. I mean that we are here, I exist here to meet the democratic, cultural, and having the freedom to express myself. In addition to maybe I want to reach this diversity and this diverse range of the differences between us, and having that there's no exclusion here, and no one is excluded. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Basically.
A lot of food for thought. We have now 2 more participants that I would like to also ask for a very, very brief statement. Barry, you are part of the, Barry Oshrin, you are part of the Model United Nations team. And the German friends have been supporting it now for a few years. Also, the Zeit Foundation supported it in 1 year, and also we had a government agency. So we are really want to stay by it. But we also said it had to be a mixed team, mixed meaning Jewish, Arab. We heard now that these are 2 nations. But in Model United Nations, you have to represent a 3rd nation, right? So it could be Iran, it could be Mali, it could be the Emirates, it could be Turkey. How does it work? How does it work in your team? And have you been surprised, or did you have situations where you had to readjust your own thinking about it?
Well, it is a very fun experience to just dive into a new nation and just think, well, let's just see what they want, what is their agenda, what they want from in this committee, what is their desire. And a lot of times I had to think outside my box of thinking. I had to think outside the box and think of new ideas, maybe even things I'm not really agree with. But the agenda of the country is those things, therefore it is my agenda now. And in a lot of times, just we had to acquire our skills, learn together, and acquire leadership skills. So we would just be able to enter a room with complete strangers and start to speak and work together to find a united goal. Because our conventions, our committees are very how do you say, competitive, and the only way to win is to win together, because alone you can't really achieve anything. You can just be, oh, look at me, I'm a lone country, I'm not really doing anything now. We need a united front of some countries to push forward a new idea, to push forward something new, something that will change things, or something that will just leave them the same. All depends in our agenda.
Mm-hmm. Fascinating. Thank you very much. Laura?
Thank you.
Yes. Laura, you are a participant of the Werner Otto graduate women program for master's and PhD studies. You come from Akron, right?
Yes, I'm from Akron.
And we had a meeting before, and we were discussing in what way we can help a group that, you know, many years ago was more or less was confronted with problems from both sides, from the majority Jewish society, especially when you leave the university, but also from your own communities in terms of the role of women and going ahead and so on.
We got lucky.
Yes. So we heard that the second is improving. That your husbands and brothers and uncles and so on now support, and I hope maybe there are some family members here now who are also quite proud of you. What about the situation in the majority society? Would employment opportunities, for example, still be mainly in the Arab sector, even though you have very high qualifications?
Thank you. That's a great question, and I can relate to it on a personal level as well as a collective level. I do agree that, I mean, us like Palestinian Arab women who are also citizens of Israel, we got like double jeopardy, you could say. We face basically difficulties within the society, but also with the outside majority. And I do agree that like in the recent years we've seen a change within the Arab society. More women pursue like higher levels of education, and more women are taking roles in communities and are more integrated. This still needs to be worked on, I believe, and it's still in progress. And it really does start from like education. When we see women who are self-investing and achieving themselves, they can actually give back to their community. But as to the relations with the Jewish majority, I've actually thought about this resolution a lot, and I've thought about like, is it so young Israelis, does it encompass also our Palestinian identity or not? If we talk about empowerment, what kind of empowerment are we talking about? Because in the very literal sense, when we empower someone, we give them power. But what are we talking about? Or what kind of power? Is it power to self-determination? Is it power to influence and be part of, major political or social projects? Because this is a topic that really we need maybe to discuss further and to understand more in depth. But also, when we talk about empowerment, we also talk about accepting the otherness of nations or any group of people, whether this kind of difference can be based on gender, it can be based on nationality or historical experiences or different opinions. And I believe, maybe to summarize my idea, is accepting differences and accepting independent thoughts and discussion is inherent to empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that's still kind of in its baby steps, I feel.
Yeah, we'll try to pick it up. But I would like to finish this first round with Sarai. Yes, Sarai, who is participating in the Interfaith Jewish Christian Muslim conference. And JCM. JCM, I know, just for those who don't know what JCM stands for, we have seen it. A question. It's maybe the interfaith dialogue or trialogue and conference in a way is easier because you have a certain platform on which you can exchange and even find similarities. On some way it's maybe more difficult because the question is how much relation does it have to the real society? Does it still play a big role? And these three groups, the religious depths of the people participating. Do you see any benefits spilling over from it, let's say, also into the general society?
Yes, I do. I was born here in Haifa 52 years ago, and I live in Jerusalem. And I had my first degree in the Hebrew University, and then my second degree also in Jerusalem. And also I went to film school in Jerusalem. This year I study here Israeli culture, having a master. So I think I have a wider way of looking about it, and I do think that although it's only a friendship and we having fun together, but I think rights and responsibilities has to come from the relationship between the people down there. I mean, you have to have understanding and opening and empathy, and then you can talk about the real issues about law and rights. And so I think when I started in the JCM program, I wasn't sure what's going to be. I was asking myself what you did. And I found out that when you are talking to someone and sitting with him, having coffee and reading something together, you open your heart and you open your mind, and you can build a lot of higher things.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like hope for a better world for you and me. Anna Spiegel, you've heard now in the meeting before, and now you've, I think, heard really a broad range of activities and initiatives towards overcoming this ceiling of integration limit between the majority and the minority, here specifically between Jews and, let's say, Arabs. But in Germany we have similar problems also with the influx of refugees, but also other immigrants with other religious backgrounds, other educational backgrounds. What do you think in this very brief moment? I know it's a challenging question, but we don't have much time. What could you give as an advice, let's say, not interference, but as an advice of what we have learned, from mistakes that we have learned? And do you have anything that you think you can learn from the really complex situation here, if at least coming back home and saying it's complex?
Well, I will definitely come home and say it's complex, but I've learned a lot more than that. And my head is full with so many impressive people I met here, and to see how much strength there is, and to see how many really impressive partnerships there are here in order to work together and to work for equality in society. So my head is full with ideas. What would also...
Can you pass some here?
Yeah, of course. I can pass some here. That fit also to the situation in the state of Rhineland-Palatinate, because you're right, in 2015 there were refugees, quite a lot of them, that came to Germany. Now the amount has decreased, but still we're facing the big challenge of the integration of people from different backgrounds, not only refugees, but also people from other migrational backgrounds. And in the state of Rhineland-Palatinate, every fifth person has a migrational background, and the amount is increasing. I see this as a wonderful enrichment. It's such a potential if you have people from different cultures, from different backgrounds, with different biographies and different opinions that at the end of the day enrich a society and make it much more diverse than it has been. So for me, this is something extremely positive that can give the society a new spirit and new strength. But it needs something that politics need to organize. You can't just say, so now integrate. So my job as an integration minister is, for example, to provide language courses, to provide access to jobs, to provide apartments and houses and so on. But I think one key thing, and this is what I've learned here in the time that I've been here, and that was especially impressive seeing this university here that was called by Professor Robin the Multiversity, is if so many different people from different backgrounds come together and live inclusion in a place. This is something that deeply impressed me, where I thought, oh, we need more of these projects in my state and all over Germany, because this can really make a change in society, because at the end of the day, we want equal access and equal rights for everyone in the society. And from what I've heard, how this university is organized, this is the way to fulfill these rights and making sure that everyone has these equal rights. And this is a strong step towards an equal society. So in my package, in my head, when I fly home tomorrow, I'll think about concepts, how we can arrange little multiversities also in my state. Yeah, it's been very impressive here.
Thank you. Very good. Samar, last question to you. Before then, I would like to open it to the audience. We have heard, you've heard now all these problems and ideas and ideals. Your job essentially is to translate them into very concrete measures, where to start. And I remember when we met previously, I asked you something very concrete. Where do you see discrimination, or where is, and you said there's so many areas. You mentioned that there is a website for employment opportunities, but it only exists in Hebrew and not in Arabic. But referring to what the young people here, this is the topic of our session, the opportunities, the rights and the responsibilities of the young. What do you think, could you say 1, 2, 3, something that could be done without major political upheaval, where you can help in promoting it?
Well, there's nothing that can be done in Israel without it being political. Let's start with that. It is all political, and I really hate to be a party wrecker, but the picture that you kind of drew now is really beautiful, and this also representation is very beautiful. But it cannot exist without, unfortunately, politics, without law, and there is a glass ceiling, and it's very obvious. And unfortunately, recently, it has been legalized. It has been, up till now, it has been a practicing policy by the policies, by the governors, by the authorities. It has been a discriminatory policy that has been practiced within Israel. And of course, the judiciary system has been quite a guarding watch for the practices, for the discriminatory practices, for inequality, for injustice, and recently this also, the judiciary authority, the judiciary discretion has been also reduced by the government, by the politics, by the policies, and of course we have to mention here the nation-state law, which eradicates any chance of real equality, of real justice. So we cannot live apart from that, because whatever we do here in these small groups, which is very important, as you said, because meeting people is very important, because it eradicates the fear of meeting the other. Well, they are not a monster, actually. They're just like me. If you go and you are supposed to step into another nation's point of view and needs, then why can't you do it with this other nation that lives right amongst you? So this is a tool to come back home and say, now I can maybe step into this other nation, the Palestinians, that have other needs than me. So we have tools, they are there. The problem is when you limit them with this glass ceiling and eradicate. There's no route for action, then it becomes a big problem. And this is the role of the young people. This is how important freedom of speech is, because if you eradicate that as well, then you cannot actually bring in all of yourself. You are afraid to express yourself, you're afraid to take action, you're afraid to demonstrate within the university campus, because there are, everybody is watching, and anything you say can and will be used against you actually in a court of law, because the legal system now is really trying to hunt and limit your freedom of speech. So we have a lot of work to do, and we need to be fully involved, and we need to not be scared, and we need support from people in power in order to be empowered. So in order to also eradicate violence within the Arab community, violence against women, violence in general, we also need to access places of power. We need to trust. And that trust has been hurt so many times, and it needs, I'm afraid, a few more decades to be rebuilt. Trust in the authorities, trust in the police system, trust in the government, trust in, so we have work to do.
Thank you very much for this honest recount. At least here on the podium we have trust among the students, which you said is the first step. So that is what we can do from the outside. May I now ask, you have a unique opportunity to ask a few questions here from very involved people. Are there any questions or ideas? Anybody who would like to participate in putting forward, don't be afraid. Everybody happy? One. Okay.
As some of you know, I don't come from Haifa. I come from Brooklyn by way of Los Angeles. Very impressive meeting, an impressive presentation. My question is, obviously, from the time that you took to talk to us about all these programs, we didn't really hit on the political side. And I'm sure the minister, perhaps, can only say certain things. But I'd be curious if any of you can tell us how the political side in your country or your group affects the work that you're trying to do. And I don't mean to be intrusive, but I'm just curious.
Maybe I'd like to, students, come on, you're here, the elite. I would like to see some hands come up. We collect a few questions. I don't see any. Yes? Come on. You have a microphone? You'll get one.
We've been talking a lot about different groups that are coming together in all of these projects that are all really wonderful. Once I was myself a member of MUN, and I really enjoyed it until today. But my question is, what we didn't talk about is also women's rights, right? As with the minister is also the Minister for Women. Is there a gender balance in all of the programs that we talked about?
You mean our programs or German programs?
The programs of the people on stage that joined in.
Okay. Third question. Go ahead. You're not a student.
Yeah. I have only a remark. I think that the university is very much involved in the research tower, which is together with the Rambam Hospital. And this is a unique thing that I think that the German people should be involved as well, and also the students. So it's very impressive what I heard today, but I think, Sonia, that it's very important that you should be involved there as well, because this is the future, I think.
Thank you very much. One more? Yes? 1, 2. And then we close. And then maybe you remember the questions, we can go and, yeah.
I should say that I'm...
Could you say who you are?
Yeah, my name is Michelle. I'm a student here. And I'm also a participant in this program. And I would like to say something that I really hesitated saying that. But I should say that it's really great and important that we're focusing on the conflict between Arabs and Jewish in this country. But I think that we also should focus on the conflict between Arabs themselves and Jewish themselves. Like, before we start thinking about a solution for Arabs and Jewish conflict, I think we should solve our conflicts with ourselves first of all, and focus on that as well, and start talking about that and not making programs. Like, it's important to make programs for women, for men, and all these rights, but let us also think about ourselves for a moment, because before we start fixing the world, we should fix our troubles with ourselves and the image we have in our face, and if we even have an image in our face. Like, I think that we should first of all make things clear with ourselves, and then with Arabs and Arabs, because there is also a conflict between Arabs themselves and as well in the Jewish community, and then we start thinking about the conflicts between the two nations.
Thank you very much. I'm Jewish, so I can tell you the Jews will never solve the conflicts among themselves. So we can't wait that long, but maybe somebody. And one more question in the back, I think. There's one more question. 2 more? Okay, then we close. A little bit. You do. I hope you all remember. Yeah, you are here to remember.
I am a recent graduate, and I also participated
Speak up,
in
please.
the...
Can you tell your name?
My name is Ophir. I'm a recent graduate, and I also participated in the Model United Nations a few years ago. And first, I would like to convey a message to all young people here. Don't give up on being politically involved, regardless of your identity. And second of all, it's a question to all members of the panel. All the programs that you get here, which you get to meet and you get to do something very, very different, and you get to gap very serious bridges between cultures. How do you see yourself after, let's say, participating in one program, proliferating it into campus life? Because for me, this university has much more potential for that than currently is being showed.
Thank you. Last question.
Okay, hello. I hope you can hear me. A few questions.
Name, please.
Two.
What's your
First
name?
of all,
What's
my
your
name
name?
is Guy. The first question is to the Arab participants in the panel, and that is, how do you reconcile your identities? You spoke about nations, and can you please expand on that and explain that? Because we're in an Israeli society, we're in an Israeli university, so that's the first question. The second question is about violence within Arab communities. How do you deal with violence against women, with honor killings and other things? So those are the two questions.
Thank you very much. I know it's a challenge now to remember everything, but otherwise we wouldn't have had the time. So there was the question about the influence of politics, which you have already addressed in a bit, but which we can expand. There was a question of how gender, women and men are taken care of within the program. There was the question whether you feel that the groups, Jews and Arabs and other groups, should first solve the problems among themselves, or maybe they solve them while learning the others. Specific questions to the Arab participants and community. And I would like to start, we go once like this, and think that's the easiest. You try to answer what you remember, what was important, what you think you can contribute.
Okay, so first of all, I've forgotten all the questions. No, just kidding. I would like to answer the last question which is specifically for the Arab nations, let's say. So we're kind of having difficulties in how we identify ourselves. That some of us will have the courage to explain himself as a Palestinian woman, as a Palestinian guy, but you will be hesitated that maybe now, since that I've spoken and mentioned the Palestinian thing, that may really affect our relationship, and maybe it will not be acceptable to others. So it will be really hard for them maybe to explain that why you're living here. So if you are trying to putting yourself in a frame that you're Palestinian, so why are you living here in Israel? You and your family, why you shouldn't go there and just try to live there? But we don't have the opportunity, so we are trying to collect all of these things. We know that it's kind of pain having these things in ourselves, but I think that we need to have step forward that maybe we will gain this kind of really having the freedom of expression and saying that I'm a Palestinian and I'm not afraid to say this, because that's who I am and that's why I was raised for. Every one of us was raised different, and it's really affected by the educational system. I mean, Arabs and Jews are not educated the same. You know that Arabs are forbidden even to speak about their Palestinian identity in their high schools. So I thought that, and I felt it when we are in the same group, that it really affects, and it really have its own, I don't know how to explain it, because it's all with us, you know, it's inside us. It's not thing that you can really express, and having, I don't know, maybe I will be, as I mentioned before, that maybe I will misunderstood it, so I don't know, so.
In our group, there is the part of the Germany group and there is the Israeli group. So the Germany group, actually, when we met them in the first time, they say we are all alike. And the Israeli group, we are so many differences inside of our group. There are some Haredi and there are some non-Haredi or non-religious at all. There are Arabian, Palestinian, there are Druzic, there are Bedouin, there are so many differences inside our group, and we have to manage our thing between ourselves, and it's not so easy. Even between the Haredi, even between the non-religious, even between the Arabic, there are some misunderstood and disagreement about things. About the steps that things will change here, I will say that in a dialogue you talk about majority things. You talk about, I'm going to change something from one to another edge, but it's not going to be like that. And the way to change things, like in my opinion, like I start in the program, it's when you speak one-on-one with each and every one of the group, you can see that in baby steps you can change a lot, and you will get the help for doing that.
Yeah, thank you for the question, because you're absolutely right. The political situation, obviously, it does matter, because also what you said with the multiversity here, at the end of the day, this is a bubble, and it stays a bubble if the political situation isn't in a way that you can spread this concept onto other parts of the society, onto other structures. And that is exactly the goal that politics should follow, to see things like this here, to see all these partnership programs, and to see that this is exactly the right way if you want to have people understanding each other, knowing each other. This is also, for me, this is one of the strongest sort of resources of peace and sustainable peace, is that there is an exchange and people get to know each other. So this is something very important. And as you were asking about the political situation, sadly, I have to report when it comes to the political situation in Germany, but not only there, also all over Europe, we have an increasing strength of the right populist and right extremist parties, which in some European countries are even part of the government. And this is an extremely worrying development. Also because in Germany, sadly, and this is worrying me a lot, we have an increasing anti-Semitism, which is something where all democratic politicians are absolutely clear on that there is no space in society for that, and that we all stand up together against any form of anti-Semitism, which is something that there is a strong coalition of all democratic parties against. And unfortunately also racism is an issue, not only in Germany, all over Europe. So yes, there are very worrying developments that are, for me, an exclamation mark why we should exactly have projects like this, why we should have exchange, we should have partnership programs. And university is one thing, but I personally think you can't start early enough. I have 4 little children, and I want them to learn already in kindergarten what equality means, and what anti-discrimination means, and what it means that it doesn't matter where someone comes from, and it doesn't matter which religion this person has. There is the same respect for all of us. These are very important things that children should learn from a small age on. There was also a question about women's rights. Very happy for that question, because my ambition in politics is to make a change when it comes to women's rights. This is one of my main motivations, and I had the honor to meet these great Werner Otto women's graduates, and I have to say I was deeply touched by that, because in this room there's so many strong women, and I can only encourage them to go their way, to seek for professional careers. Yes, it is possible to combine it also with a family. I know it myself by first hand. It's not easy, but it is possible. And if you go this way, please continue this way, because you make a change to the society out here, and you're all going to be role models for other women and girls that are encouraged to go this way again. And this is exactly, for me, a key point to create equality in a society. So please go your way.
This was a positive note. So now we're here. We have another 5 minutes, I should say. I'm sorry for because otherwise we are absolutely late to the most important highlight, which is the awarding of the scholarships. But you will make good use of it.
I hope so. Just a few short words, actually, to Michelle, was it? Yeah. Just it is all integrated, and you cannot separate. I think it is not linear. It is holistic. You cannot go and say, let's solve the problems first and then go to another thing, because there isn't first and then. It is all embedded in one being, and then the family, and then the society, and then, the bigger two societies, and then politics, and then a country. So they are all part of one. So if I am talking about my women's rights, it is not disconnected from me being in my own family, in my society, growing up in Nazareth, what in my school, what budgets my school got, what budgets my city got, in comparison to other cities, to other similar cities, to other people in my age who are Israelis, who maybe come from different villages, from the Bedouin unrecognized villages. So how can I separate and say to the Bedouins, well, yeah, you are very violent people, you kill each other, or you practice bigamy because, and so solve this problem first. How can I say that if I don't give them budgets, if I don't give access to schooling, to housing rights, to women in the police stations, to receive women who come and complain about violence against them, because there isn't a woman there receiving them, there isn't a social worker, so it is all intertwined. And I don't think you can separate it, and you shouldn't. My sexual orientation identity is part of who I am. My gender role that has been given to me is part of who I am. My race. Everything is intertwined, and it is great if you want to focus about one thing and fight for that and go for that. That's great. And then little by little you will discover that you need tools from here and money from there and recognition from here. And actually he has more than I do, or they have more than I do, because they belong to a certain race, nation, again, gender, and so on. So that's my take on that.
Well, we had an outstanding questions here, and we do have short time, so I will try to keep it short and only add where I do have to add. About the politics, in the Model UN, we are walking around the politics of the UN, therefore politics of many countries. I personally feel the other politics of other countries interfere more in our work than our own politics, because when we need to do a committee about women's rights and someone is Saudi Arabia, it goes nice. Moreover than that, the Model UN is very diverse, in my opinion. Christians, Muslims, Jewish, even we have international students, female, male. There is I don't see any difference. I even lost to some females occasionally because they were really cunning and witty, and I wasn't enough, apparently. in our program, it isn't about if you're a male or female or what you are. It's just about what you bring to the table, because in the end, we play a part of another country, and we need to think in that country's eyes and not in our eyes. We need to understand others. We need to see and we need to see the other delegates, the other people with us in the room, to understand from them, to see what they want, and to work together with them or against them according to their agenda. And well, about the future of the program, I don't believe I can say about that a lot. I am a first-year student, and my more far future that I see is the summer vacation and tests. So maybe next year I will see about the future, but I believe that if the Model UN continues as it is now, as a place of diversity, of meeting together of people from different backgrounds, people from different genders, etc., it will be a great continuity and a great for all the students that will take part in it in the future.
Well, I guess most of the points were already covered. I would like to add to the issue of, and I really like this question, the issue of internal problems and how we handle our internal struggles, and should we invest more in solving them first. I do believe, like, if I talk about the Arab society as well as the Jewish Israeli society, I believe we can hear voices of, or attempts of a society to heal itself through independent NGOs, through civil society, through independent initiatives. These are attempts that should and should be highlighted, should be acknowledged, and should be supported. And I believe it is intertwined. Internal struggles are not excluded, are not in a bubble, and they are related to also external struggles with other communities. But I do believe that yes, it is something that we do need to invest in, and we have the brains for it. We have many skills in our communities. They only need encouragement. So thank you for that. Since we don't have a lot of time, I'll pass it on.
Okay. Thank you very much. We're running out of time. We run out of time. I'm getting signs. Thank you. This is wonderful. We could continue. And thank you for your participation. We are hopeful to incorporate a lot of suggestions in our programs. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
We will now enjoy a short musical interlude. Once again, I invite Nermin and Samer to the stage to perform Bob Thiel and George David Weiss's What a Wonderful World.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also in the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They're
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Narmeen and Samir. If you can just bear with us for a few moments while we get the stage ready for the award ceremony. Thank you. And now, let us begin with the award ceremony. Dr. Lanstein Kandel and Professor Adi Talbenari, the head of the Arab Jewish Center, may I invite you on stage to present the Werner Otto scholarships for outstanding female Arab graduate students.
I ask that the Werner Otto scholars come up when we call your name and remain on stage for the group photo.
And Dr. Olaf Schulz-Guardian.
We would like also to invite Dr. Olaf Schulz-Guardian. We are starting with the names. عباس نوراس أبو طه بسمة دراوشي مها هردان مدلج سمر إبراهيم مرام جبارين رائفة جريس ليديا صعب نور صبا جنان شهادي بثينة وهبي لما منا and زيدان سماء.
And now for the Arab Jewish Community Leadership Program, may I invite Professor Korman, Dean of Students, to present the certificates with Dr. Lanstein Kandel and the panel of the German Friends. Recipients, when we call your name, please come up and remain on stage for the photo. Abed Rabo Sam.
Abu Raya Rina.
Afan Muhammad.
Arabian Silvert.
Asakli Marwa.
Ashkenazi Bet El.
Awadi Rami.
Awaid Mais.
Badarni Shiraz.
Bawardi Hisham.
Ben Hamodor.
Cohen Inbal.
Dermer Batchen.
Franciscos Michel.
Chanayim Ther.
Goldman Maya.
Gudkar Sapir.
Godkin Michel.
Halabi Yosef.
Horseman Anais Melena.
Jubran Mona.
Jazmawi Sabil.
Kinda Osnat.
Magini Nomi.
Meisels Gilad.
Opfer Natalie.
Mer Peli.
Prince Zilber Cecily.
Saad Darin.
Saati Guy.
Shaheen Wiam.
Shalata Ayat.
Sobe Qasim.
Taha Ahmad.
Tolka Shoham.
Tarabe Maya.
Weisenberg Neria.
Zoltzber Maor. Okay. Last but not least, my co-host, Moshe Asher. Well, this is hilarious a bit. This concludes our ceremony this morning. It was a pleasure and a privilege to stand before all of you today and host this wonderful event.
Thank you, danke, shukran, toda, and Ramadan Kareem. Thank you all for being with us today. This concludes our ceremony.
You are invited for light refreshments right outside this hall. אתם מוזמנים לכיבוד קל until next year.